Radio.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Cryptocurrent. Your host here, Richard Carthon. And today I have a very special guest talking about some really, really cool things, not just in the DeFi space, but in everything CeFi as well. Over at Midas.Investments, we have Trevor, who's the CEO. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, especially much more better when I ended up in this podcast. Thank you for having me.
Of course, man. Well, we're excited to learn everything that's going on over at Midas. But before we do, want to learn a little bit more about yourself. Can you give us a little background on yourself?
Yeah, sure. So my whole life, my whole professional life was preparing me for the creation of our company, Midas. Midas was established like 5 years ago. And before that, I was trying my youth with various startups and various activities in order to build expertise in various topics, not only startups and product management, but also cognitive science, also the blogging, also the methodological thinking, and all various stuff, and finances, obviously. And then in 2017, I discovered crypto, made some money over a few months, then lost almost everything, and then started to dig into specific niches for building wealth. And I ended up in staking and masternode ecosystem, which led me to this passive income, new ways of passive income that crypto created. And the company Midas was established as the hosting platform for masternodes, and then evolved iterationally over 5 years as an exchange, as a hosting provider, as investment platform, and now we are CeFi, and now merging towards CeDeFi with the opening of the crazy DeFi disruption. Yeah.
Right. Wow. I mean, that's quite the journey. Kind of similar. I learned about the space back in 2018, and first got in. It's like really cool to see different ways to put your money to work and make some money. But then also, to see it go down as well, and to how to weather the storms, and how do you hedge against downside, and how do you make residual income within this space. And so you kind of alluded to it. You saw different initial ways through masternodes, through staking, through other ways as well. And so kind of you did a really good job of briefly walking us through that journey of how Midas started. But let's dive back into that. So when you first created this, you've blended a ton of the amazing features that I think are in crypto into one giant platform. So walk us through, like, what was the starting point to where things are today, and how people are using Midas Investments?
Yeah, I think the heart of Midas is our Discord, where it all started. And back then, when you wanted to become the masternode and staking provider, especially for masternodes, you would advertise yourself among other Discord groups of other coins that, hey, I do this shared masternode thing. And back then, before we had the platform, we were doing reporting and analytics and calculating of everyone's balances in Google Sheets. And we got 3 main Google Sheets where all our investors got their balances, and we calculated all the rewards and did everything ourselves. And then with the expense, we developed, not developed but created, because I had the started capital, initial capital for masternodes. It would allow other investors to invest small amount of coins into my masternodes, basically, and start receiving rewards immediately, instead of like gathering a huge pool of individuals that are willing to make a share. And so it would basically democratize masternode coins. Now it sounds really, really funny, but back then it was a really growing part of the crypto. And so it also opened the such features as reinvesting and compounding on top of masternode coins, and basically allowed many investors to make much more efficient investing towards passive income coins. And after this, we got our platform started to build. And it took 9 months in order to get our first platform where the users would be able to deposit, withdraw, and reinvest. And and over years we added a lot of features. I think over 13 various features because building product without VC funds, without ICOs, without initial bootstrap capital is really hard. So we got the startup way of pivoting, trying various features, build various products, do it in the most simple, easy way as possible, fast as possible, fail as fast as possible, and gain as much intel as possible around the market. But by the end of 2019, I think we got this monstrous platform, which was not really greatly optimized and was really not buggy, but really not intuitive in terms of using. So because the feature on top of feature, and we did not have a huge squad of developers or product managers or copywriters and so on. So we had to do everything by ourselves in a really small team. It was really amazing journey into on building this stuff. And in 2020, the DeFi appeared, and DeFi fits the best in the terms of passive income. And I think that DeFi opens up the really new possibilities, and it will iterate with these possibilities further as DeFi keeps innovating and introducing the new roles of liquidity providing, liquidity managing, because protocols need liquidity in order to service other users. And by you giving this capital in various ways and various forms to these protocols, it basically makes your money doing work for you, which is basically passive income. And we saw this trend. It was amazing for us because we could because our core product at this time was fixed yield product. So we offered 13% interest rate on BTC and something like 15% on Ethereum plus stables, obviously. And but we got really a lot of restrictions against this model. And back then the yield was produced by our algorithmic team that was doing trend on BTC, but it was not really sustainable. And once DeFi started, I started to dive into it. I started to build the team around DeFi, and in September, I think in August of 2021, we deleted every feature on the platform but fixed yield. So it was only BTC, Ethereum, stables, and a lot of mastodon coins of the previous generation, and we deleted everything. And back then we got $25 million assets under management. It was close to the peaks in terms of the crypto value. And now we after 1 year, we are standing at $280 million of assets under management, and it was an amazing journey because a lot of users discovered Midas. A lot of happened during this year, and obviously, when you receive this amount of capital in your system, it starts to hit the constraints. You have the liquidity constraints. You need to develop the risk frameworks. You need to develop custodian solutions in order to safely manage the assets. In this case, we integrated Fireblocks, and basically we pivoted from the IT platform to asset management or investment fund or hedge fund. I think asset management is the closest, and building our inner investment teams and our inner risk frameworks policy and how we treat DeFi protocols, how we dodge the bullets with the with various low liquidity assets like Ethereum, ETH basically, and USD and all these traps basically on the way, and we managed to dodge it with our risk policy and our infrastructure of alerts around the liquidity across the protocols. So we're really, really proud on this and how we ended up in this case.
And it's been a huge journey. I mean, each step of the way, you were just adapting to what the best opportunities were at each phase of this, starting in masternodes. And I do want to spend a quick second on saying that you started in Discord. You started with community first. You let your community kind of drive and say like, hey, this is what we need help with. This is what they're doing. You build a product around that. Then as more tools began to come into market and you could build around that, you continue to add more and more value back to your original users of your platform and are able to adjust and adapt for that. So, you started in 2017, you were able to see a bull run go down to a bear market, back into another bull run, and now we're back in another bear. What do you think are the tools that you've been able to, like you were kind of alluding at the end of your last statement on your risk profiles and understanding like how to hedge all these different things, but how is it that the Midas investment platform is able to help hedge against current market conditions?
Yeah. So the way we think about this, during our last 3 years, we managed to build two really deep expertises around algorithmic tools and around DeFi. So our current positioning and our current at this stage thing that allows us to provide yields during various market conditions is that we combine algorithmic stuff. And what is algorithms? It's basically it allows to allocate trend reversals for specific during specific market conditions, and it basically is the top risk level, which signals us is the market growing or the market is falling. Do we need to add risk or we need to reduce risk? And this has proven to us to be really, really efficient. So we fully de-risked our portfolio in February this year, thankfully. And we managed to invest a lot of time and resources into risk frameworks. And what are risk frameworks? It's the alert and monitoring system on top of every DeFi protocol that we are using. If we see the depegging scenario, and depegging scenario is when the liquidity, for example, in curve calls is starting to be disbalanced, we have the triggers and we exit the positions automatically. And similar goes to lending positions, similar goes to basically everything. And regarding more risky positions, we made our due diligence and quant analytics on how the assets correlate to each other. Specifically, DeFi altcoins, blue chips are correlated to Ethereum. So you can basically hedge for example, convex with Ethereum short, with really timed Ethereum short on the trend movements. So we combine those two things in pairs, which gives us much more efficient way to generate yield. And now we are working on the more complex system of asset management. It's like I present it as a wheel where you have for each specific investment product, you have the upside for specific market condition, and you have the downside, the risk, basically in also specific market condition. And the way you manage capital, you are basically spreading the risk from one place to another. So and our goal for the next month is to basically create the flywheel of products that would hedge each other. So basically, Uniswap 3 is great for flat markets. So but it has impermanent loss, and you can end up with really non-linear problem of having lesser funds, obviously. But if you combine it with trend algorithms that do really well with trend movements, you can actually pair it up and reduce the risk of the both assets, of the both products, and reach this equilibrium. So we are working on this right now. We are hiring amazing quant analytics in order to solve this equation, basically. And we will work on this flywheel in order to move on this wheel during the next 2 years of complicated market.
For sure. And I think that strategy is really amazing. And for all those who kept up in what was happening, these are really complex models that you're able to blend together to hedge for upside and downside momentum, and to be able to capitalize and regardless of where the market moves, still able to make profit, which is ideal when you're dealing with a fund that is trying to make sure that not only are you protecting downside, but you're also able to make as much on the upside as well. And one of the things I saw in here within what y'all have going on is the new investment tools y'all have for the higher rise CeDeFi strategies, your SL ETH, which is your soft long on ETH, etc. Can you kind of talk through a couple of these, because this might be like unique to a lot of even some seasoned investors? Can you kind of just talk through this a little bit?
Yeah. So CeDeFi and everything that we think about CeDeFi is, I think, the next step on how the CeFi industry should evolve after Celsius bankruptcy, after Voyager bankruptcy, after all the names you name it. And I feel really, really sorry for everyone who suffered from this mismanagement and this lack of transparency and mixed intentions of CeFi platforms. And this is the thing that actually we started to think about this back in February, because what's next? Back in February, we had a really red market where you got Celsius, Nexo, Crypto.com, BlockFi, and so on. It was impossible to compete with those. So my idea is that each of those guys are ignoring DeFi. They just it does not exist. Yield process on DeFi does not exist. DeFi protocols does not exist. Just deposit money to us. We know better what to do with them, with your money. And for me, this is really, really mixed intentions, because in this case, CeFi company has other intentions than the users. So the intentions are not aligned, where users want to generate yield with low risk, and the CeFi company wants to generate as much returns as possible, and without revealing the risk of their portfolio. And it creates this black box where users are now afraid of the CeFi platforms, and I fully understand it. And this is why we are publishing our investment report, where we are basically saying what our positions are and how much yield they are generating, how much yield we generated, and adjust our rates according to this. So coming to CeDeFi, I really feel that the only way for the CeFi industry to become mature during the next bullish cycle is to partner with DeFi. And CeFi needs DeFi, and DeFi needs CeFi, because CeFi really, really needs this transparent ways to generate yield, those efficient models that allow to reach capital efficiency, and in order to produce transparent, secure yield. Obviously, we are quite a few innovations away from these products to be created, but we already have the GLP, for example, from GMX, which is a brilliant idea. As for me, it's a brilliant idea to democratize the use of liquidity and building the product for the users. So basically, our idea is to share. Is to create the strategy, the structured products built on top of DeFi with the specific on-chain address, where we manage funds on the specific way, use our alert system in order to hedge from hacks, DPEGs, and stuff, or utilization problems when the capital is getting stuck in the lending protocols and so on. And create specific directional strategy that both utilize the DeFi opportunities that amazing devs all around the world is creating for us, but help users to not dive into the complexity of all these models and just make the guidebook for them for specific this structured products. Or as we did with GLP, we simply listed GLP on our platform because in terms of because it's an amazing way to create the ecosystem of products where you can manage it easily, and you can always track where the yields are coming from in case of our structured CeFi products, and you can always swap in and swap out of them. So it does not take for you like 5 transactions in order to get and 5 taps where you need to update each of them in order to track your balances and so on. So I feel this is where we can be headed towards the future of asset management, where we use this amazing DeFi infrastructure to build the structured, transparent products and efficient. And during the next cycles, it will be in a much more efficient way. And I'm really, really inspired about this. And DeFi really needs this, because there is no way they can attract retail liquidity without CeFi. But we need to make CeFi great again. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I think that's a really well way of like painting the picture of the big issues that we saw between Celsius, Voyager, et cetera. And to recap that, the breakdown that happened with Celsius, when you are going and putting in money there and they're giving you yield back of whatever it is, you're locking into that platform and they're giving you your yield back. But what they're doing with the money that they receive ultimately from you is that they're going and saying like, I can invest this better than you. Therefore, I'm going to use all this. I'm pulling all the money together and then I'm making investments on top of it. And because I'm doing better, I can then give that guaranteed yield back to you. But you don't know what they're doing with the money. You don't know if they're doing bad transactions. There's no transparency. So what y'all have been able to do is add a layer of transparency of saying like, hey, here's the money that you put in, here's what we're guaranteeing you, but here's how we're putting the money to work. Here's how we're doing that. So you have that layer of transparency that where a lot of things like DeFi, when you're in a DeFi protocol, you know exactly where it's going. You know exactly what it's going to validate, et cetera. You don't have to guess about anything. Like you know exactly what you're putting into. So I like kind of that blend between the centralized finance and the decentralized finance worlds, put them together, the CeDeFi, as y'all are saying, and bringing the downsides and the upsides, putting them together and kind of completing the circle of how this can work in a good framework and have a lot more protections and transparency. So I think that's really cool, and I like the approach that y'all have here. But for someone's listening to this, right? So you have obviously your more advanced investor. Then you also have your everyday investor. Like let's say someone who was in Celsius, luckily got out before everything happened, and they've been looking for something new like this potentially come up. So for someone who's listening to this, who can become involved and utilize the Midas investment platform?
Yeah, I think I truly believe that anyone, but I do not want to shill our product or shill our platform. I would really encourage people to dive into our discords, read our investment reports, and to make your rational decision based on all the data and all the information we are giving, and talking to community members and so on. So the main idea around this creation of Midas platform is to give financial freedom for making decisions in life, and for me, I think that in one cycle you can actually make a lot of money through the rise of cryptocurrency, and simply by accumulating it. And the way I want to build the platform is to give the yield that is adjusted risk, that has the maximum outcome with adjusted risk. So in this case, my dream would be people living and spending more time with family, making following their dreams and following their passions, what they love to do, and quitting that job that they do not like. I really want everyone to do the job that they really want to, but not for money, but because they really, really love it. And I feel that Midas tries to give this block for you in order to receive income in stable coins or in BTC, accumulate Ethereum, or have these upside opportunities with CeDeFi strategies, or through the portfolio investing, which we also have on the platform. And our main audience is based in Europe and USA. and usually it's like 35, 40 years old. And I speak with a lot of investors, and they are sharing those stories where they can do what they like because their money is on Midas, and and many actually dodged the bullet with Celsius. A lot of people withdrew like in the last 2 weeks before the storm happened, and I'm really happy that that happened.
Yeah. Well,
withdrawal on Celsius,
for sure. Well, we definitely appreciate the insights, and I think there's a lot of really cool things for people to go and check out over at Midas.Investments. But as we wrap up, I always like to finish with a couple of fun questions, and the one I want to pose to you first is, with all the information that you now have present day, if you could go give yourself 1 to 2 pieces of wisdom when you first started back in 2017, what would you tell yourself?
That it will be fun, and you can make it, and that's it. I would not reveal anything because it's just a wholesome journey, and I really I know myself. If I will give myself the insight about the prices, I would be really lazy in this case because so all the struggles and all the tension that we got through building the company, it formed me as an individual, and I do not want to take away this from myself.
Got it. Well, I think that's a good takeaway, just encouragement. And sometimes you have to struggle to get to the upside and to really appreciate the fruits of the labor once you get there, instead of just cutting to the easy route, right? The path of least resistance. But for someone who's just coming into this space, right? So they've been hearing about crypto forever. They finally got excited last Thanksgiving or Christmas, and they're like, they put in their first little bits of money. They've seen it all go down, 60 to 80%. They're concerned, is crypto a scam? Is it gone forever? What would you tell that person who's like in that like tough place right now? Because we've been there.
Yeah. I think there are two ways to think about this, and the first way is that crypto gives so many opportunities because of how inefficient and volatile it is. So the time spent in crypto really pays off, and the overall level of expertise that needed in crypto to be able to do stuff and to have fun with this is really not really low, but it's much easier to do stuff in crypto than in current IT business. So do stuff what you like, and the main thing here is that what triggers your passion, what triggers your interest, go towards this direction. It's like the inner call of your soul in order to get this into this sweet spot in crypto that you want to be into. And another way for long-term investment and so on, just make a habit to purchase BTC or Ethereum, or BTC and Ethereum each couple of weeks, each paycheck, basically, and it will benefit you a lot because this. I have a success story from one of our investors that invested in 2017, lost a lot of money, and then he was like, okay, I'm going to purchase like every week. I do not care about the price. I just going to purchase and the market will give you opportunity to balance out your portfolio and to get into much sweeter prices, and still you have the upside on the global currency on BTC, which is the first peer-to-peer payment network. Like it's an incredible innovation that did not even started yet. We are in 93 in terms of the internet, 1993, and in terms of Ethereum, you have this ecosystem deflationary ecosystem of the new DeFi apps and NFTs and all this activity, and you can receive a part of this and hold the part of this. It's an incredible opportunity, one of the most incredible during our lifetimes, and we need to treat it really, really carefully and consciously and wisely, which is basically purchasing each period of, time. Yeah.
Dollar cost averaging. We talk about a lot on this show. It is it can be your best friend, and I've also seen personally a ton of success stories. And yes, even though things are potentially down for the things that make sense, and you do your own research on whatever projects you feel adamantly about. You play the long game. You just give it time. Typically, you win most times. So I think that's another good takeaway. But as we wrap up here, again, appreciate all the time you spent with us. What is a final thought that you want to leave with the listeners here today?
Final thought. Everything will be amazingly well, despite on all the things that is happening. And you always have yourself, and believe in yourself and spend more time with yourself. It is the most incredible journey, and listen to yourself, and you will open the whole new world. Yeah.
Excellent. I think that's a great final thought. Again, we want to appreciate and say thanks to Trevor for spending some time with us. You can go over to Midas.Investments for more information. But what are some other ways that people can learn more about what y'all have going on and connect with you?
You can subscribe to my Twitter. I really want to start posting much more, and I would really love to engage with all of you. And obviously join our Discord, discord.gg/Midas. We have this fancy link. Just come and spend some time with us. Ask us some questions. You can ask questions directly to me or to any team member. We're all there. Yeah, I would be happy to see everyone.
Excellent. Well, again, thank you so much for spending some time with us today, Trevor, and for everyone listening, stay cryptocurrent.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Cryptocurrent. Cryptocurrent is a cryptocurrency and blockchain education platform that's bridging the gap between the curious newcomers who are just discovering the space and the thought leaders who are shaping its future. All opinions expressed by Richard Carthon, the Cryptocurrent team, and their guests on this show are exclusively their own opinions. This show and any other cryptocurrent production is exclusively for informational purposes.